if you have leads, you don't get discouraged. And you're converting those leads into customers and even recruiting because you have people you don't know raising their hand and saying, what is that? Tell me more. I'm curious. And it doesn't matter what you're selling. I think if you have leads, you're good. And I know that's one thing you've specialized in. You've been coaching clients for years now on building an audience, generating leads. And you were one of the first ones to hop on the short form video train. So I know you have an expertise in it and I can't wait to dive in. And then also just so you guys know, Brian is retired from network marketing. He just coaches, trains, speaks at events, works with network marketers, like I said, in dozens of different companies. And he's a good friend of mine. So Brian, the floor is yours, my friend.
No, appreciate it, John. As always, appreciate you and Nadya so much and all you guys are doing to continue to impact the profession. And the short version of my story is I was born and raised Southern California, had a lifelong dream of playing professional baseball. Back in 2004, drafted by the San Diego Padres, played 8 years. Two things happened during my career. Number one, I met my now wife. We've got 4 kiddos and now live in Indiana in the Midwest. That's a whole other story of how I went from Cali to Indiana. The second thing is, unfortunately, halfway through my baseball career, suffered a back injury. Tried, chiropractor, massage, acupuncture. I literally tried it all. Family friend introduced me to someone at her school and said, this teacher is selling this miracle juice. You should try it out. Tried the product. 4 weeks later, I found myself in a big hotel room with about 200 people and learned that there was a business opportunity attached to that product. And that was my introduction to the amazing profession of network marketing. As far as my network marketing journey, just real quick, I was with that first company for 4.5 years. I didn't make a single dollar in profit. Thought that, I was a professional baseball player and I could figure it out. Well, guess what? I didn't. But I saw other people create success and I knew that it worked. I just had to figure out how to work it. So second opportunity stumbled across my lap. We joined that company, implemented all that I had learned. Wife and I became the number 4 income earners, impacted tens of thousands of folks over the next 3 years. And then unfortunately, that company went away. So thank heavens I had built a personal brand, in inspiration of, you and Nadya. And that was about 7 years ago. I transitioned from being in the field to coaching. Nowadays, fortunate enough to coach folks all over the world. Like you said, dozens and dozens of different companies, tens of thousands have come through my programs, written a couple books, and just having a blast, man. So excited to be here.
That's awesome. And what do you think right now? Because obviously, the climate of the profession. Again, you're coaching top leaders and earners from all these companies. What do you feel like is like working best right now? What are you seeing in the marketplace that people that are actually like growing and duplicating are doing?
I like to keep things simple, John, just like you guys. What's working best, quite frankly and transparently speaking to those listening in, is where you are focused. I think that there is so much, there's such a lack of focus right now, maybe over the last 12 to 24 months and looking at this and looking at that, and I can do multiple things. And so the folks who are experiencing the most success have the most focus. And most of you that are listening might not want to hear that, but that's the reality. And I get it, right? We're on social media. There's stuff popping up every day, and good stuff, bad stuff, fun stuff, not so much fun stuff. And like you said earlier, if you're not generating leads right now, you're quick to scramble to figure out, well, where else can I generate some income? And I think that there's just a big lack of focus right now. But in terms of platforms, again, I believe that your business will grow where there is focus. But about 18 to 20 months ago, John, I used to be obviously massive Facebook lover. I still love Facebook, bread and butter. But I've become more keen to Instagram over the last 18 to 20 months, and not a whole lot of folks in the network marketing space have taken full advantage of that.
At the end of the day, and you said it, you got to have that tunnel vision. You got to have that focus, and it's easy to say and it's easy to do when you have momentum. The hard part is creating it, right? Getting your bearings and figuring out like how to start getting attention on social. So for people that are curious why Instagram is your favorite, number one. Number two, what are you seeing as far as the things that are working most effectively on that platform?
Yeah, such a great question. I think, I've always taught that, Facebook is something to where, you can create 5 pillars, 5 buckets of content, share a little bit more about family and faith and lifestyle and business and travel and fun and all that cool stuff. And I love Facebook, and I still teach a lot of those same strategies on Facebook today. And I think that's great. When it comes to Instagram, I'm a big believer, especially over the last 1 to 2 years, that those who are hyper focused on one, you can call it a niche specific type of Instagram, page are creating the biggest results, and in my opinion, creating the most impact. So, I'll give you one just simple example for those listening in. On Facebook, I share about my faith and my family and and life, and we're traveling and all the cool stuff, right? But you go to my Instagram, it's very, very one lane, one focus, right? Okay. And this is where we are seeing folks have the most amount of success. And I want to relate this specifically to network marketing, John. I think this will help your audience a ton. So many amazing companies out there. Your guys' company, for example, has an amazing product catalog. But if you had to choose, there are probably 2, maybe 3 products that you guys sell the most of. Call them home run products, if you will. This is what I'm encouraging most folks who want to focus on Instagram. Focus on 1 or 2. Focus on the areas in which that product can maybe be of help. And what we're seeing is those who are literally niche specific and focused, creating content around ideal outcomes that these folks want to create. John, it's crazy, man. I mean, not everybody grows fast, and this is a long-term game. But I mean, we literally have folks who are creating brand new Instagram accounts. Like I've got one client start a brand new Instagram account, no prior following. She just surpassed 240,000 followers. Wow. She's personally enrolled over 600 customers. Has an entire system now. 75% of those customers are reordering, which I think is a big thing. They're not just one-time purchases, which I think is keen to understand. She's building community with those customers now. Now that's a unicorn case. But even if someone was listening to this and they did that and generated 1,000 or 2,000 followers in the first 3, 4, 5 months that were 100% hyper niche focused, and you attracted 50 to 100 customers, I think everybody would be ecstatic about that. That's right. What we are seeing is working best right now.
And the power is you only have to do it once. Like if you build a following of 200,000 people, yeah, it might take you a few months, might take you a few years, right? Even if it took you a decade to finally get like that figured out, you crack that code, and now you just have endless leads. Like you have 200,000 people that you could never possibly connect with all of those people, and 600 customers in 4 months. And the best part is the thing that I always loved about social media, and this is why you and I, when we met years ago, we were getting into the branding conversation. It was because you wanted to get to that point where you never have to worry about finding people to talk to about your products and opportunity, right? Where people are coming to you. There's just nothing better than that. And if you can learn to capture and convert those leads, oh man, it becomes really exciting. So I love that example. And yeah, I have those unicorns on my team too. And people will sometimes go, oh, I've been doing videos and I'm not seeing results, and I'm like, yeah, guess what? When they first started, same thing, same situation. You do have to develop some skills. You have to you can't just say, hey, this is what I'm going to talk about, and then I'm going to talk about it, and then I'm just going to start making money. It doesn't work like that. Like there are variables. You got to be careful not to get that comparitis and get frustrated. I always say get fascinated, right? Frustration doesn't help you pay your bills and grow a business. Fascination, saying, what are they doing differently? How are they showing up? What kind of content are they creating? How are they converting? How are they, connecting with people? Are they doing lives? Are they doing more videos? Are they doing niche videos, longer videos? I mean, this is why you need to find a few people that you can follow and plug in. And actually, Coach Fryer, guys, he's a great one to follow. He's a great one to learn from because he's coaching people that are on the struggle bus in a brand new account. I mean, I think that's the best part about everything you said. This is not somebody that's been doing it for years, building a following, a decade. 4 months, boom, just like that, 200,000 followers and 600 customers, you said? I mean, that's insane.
Is that what's typical? Absolutely not. We're not here to, paint some pie in the sky, vision of that. But I think is most important when you think about that is you're like, instead of, if you're sitting here watching this and you're someone who's like, man, I've been at this for a year or 2 years or 5 years or 8 years, and I haven't even come close to those things. I had this epiphany way back. I shared my story, how I struggled for 4 or 5 years, and all of a sudden the light bulb went off. A lot of things I was doing is I was looking to other people, and nowadays you look to someone else on social media, they're having more success than you, and we become jealous, we become envious.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big detriment to someone's success. What the light bulb flipped on for me when I was like, okay, if Coach Fryer and John just said that they see some folks out there start a brand new account, 200,000 followers, 600 customers, instead of being like, oh well, this sucks, I've never had that. I always start saying, well, what can I learn from that person? They're obviously something is clicking for them that is just not yet clicking for me. What can I learn?
How did she know, or how would someone know? When do you start a new account? Should you start a new account?
Yeah, no, this is such a great question. And I always like to add a quick disclaimer. This is not a training or, hey, Coach Fryer said I need to go start an Instagram account. That's not the case. I think every case is unique. In her specific case, she had been in several different companies. She had been a, let's just call it an advertisement and just trying to sell products and join my team, join my business type of content for years and years and years and years. I don't even know how she acquired that many followers, to be quite honest, 2, 3, 4,000, whatever it was, because we all know that that just doesn't work nowadays. It was at that point she said, you know what, instead of trying to, clean up this profile or whatever, with some of the Instagram and Meta announcements about how they want to start rewarding more smaller niche specific type accounts, it just kind of made sense for her. So starting a new account isn't always the answer, but it can be.
Look, if your platform or your current account is not good, like it's just not, you're not getting leads, you're not getting followers, like there's no engagement, it's not working, the answer is probably obvious that either A, new account, or just start totally making that shift in a totally different niche, a totally different focus. And you can also, and Brian, what do you say about this? You can test it out. How long should someone test out? Like, let's say they're confused or conflicted would be a better word on what their niche should be. Should they just test out for 30 days, one specific niche, and then switch it? Or is it 90 days? Is it 2 weeks? What would be your advice there?
Again, I think everybody's different. You said 30 days, there's 60 days. I honestly feel 90 days is probably a great time frame, but there has to be clarity. You have to have an actual plan of attack. I think that's one of the biggest challenges, John, for folks, especially on Instagram, but all social, is they don't have a plan. They're just kind of, I'm going to go start a new Instagram account, and then they're just kind of winging it. The client that I mentioned earlier, a couple 100,000 followers, before she even did that, she mapped it out for a week. Here's who I'm going to serve. Here's how I'm going to help them. Here are the 3 areas of topics I'm going to focus on for content. I'm going to focus on serving this one person, and I'm going to pump out. Now, this is extreme. She said, I'm going to pump out 3, 4, 5 reels a day for the first 90 days. That's just what she did. Most aren't willing to do that. But I think that social media is not based on luck. It's based on skill. Mastering and honing in and improving a core set of skills, right? That's understanding who you're targeting, creating reels, the language, the copy, art of posture, positioning, persuasion, all that comes into play. So think about what is that 1 or 2, home run product that your company offers or that you offer. Let's just take, collagen, for example, right? We all know that collagen is huge, has been huge for a year or two now, still is. That doesn't mean that you're going to go create reels about collagen, but let's talk about the 3 ideal outcomes that people experience from taking your guys' collagen. Now, you can create content around the pains, problems, solutions, all the cool things about that. We're not going to talk about your collagen specifically, but everything we do is to funnel people to introduce them to your collagen product.
And you could mix it up too. You don't have to do the same stuff all the time, but in general, like Brian said, it's repetition is the key to success here. You might not know what that's going to be at first, which is why you got to test it out. But once you have that clarity, you can talk about 3, 4, 5 topics over and over and over again. And number one, the pain points that most of your clients have, most of the problems and you're selling a solution, you're offering advice. And it doesn't always have to be that, like, the advice is you got to buy my product. That's one of the suggestions. But I think that really is a powerful thing to understand, that if you get the clarity on, like, okay, this is the direction I'm going in, then you just hammer it over and over and over. You have different angles, but it really is the same stuff over and over again. Like, a lot of my top people, if you were to go watch their videos for the last several months, you'd be like, they talk about the same things over and over again. I'm like, yeah. And they're doing tens of thousands of dollars a month in personal sales, recruiting more than they've ever recruited, rank advancing. And again, this is the best part. It's duplicating on their teams.
Co-create a bunch of content, man, for the first month or 2. Look at the data and then double down on what worked best. Pretty simple.
And leverage AI. Like, I'm sure most of you know this. You've been following us for a while. If you follow Brian, I guarantee ChatGPT will help you. Like, what are common questions? What are best tips? What does my niche struggle with? Or the kind of person that I want to help has these issues. What kind of content should I create to attract them and get their attention? And that's what I love about technology these days. It's like, you have everything you need at your fingertips, right? The fact that you can create videos, leverage AI, leverage social media to generate leads, generate sales, and have that community that you build. I mean, this is really why Brian, myself, and many others built our own personal brand, because we all have our unique voice, personality, style. And, you get your story out there, you get your content out there, and you start to get attention on certain pieces of content. That's when you double down. Like he said, you double down on that content, and that, like, you're talking about the collagen conversation. Once you build up that audience, then you can start to be a little more aggressive in your stories, and you can show before and afters. You say, powdered collagen versus liquid collagen, or why this collagen, or why collagen at all. Like, there's things that you can do that you can test out, you can mix it up. And here's the other thing that I love is that you can do it on all the platforms. Like, what we're talking about is very specific to Instagram, but you can take the same piece of content for TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Facebook Reels, and have like pieces of content all over the place. And then you start building a virtual team, repurposing the same content, right? Sharing the same content in your stories, not like every day or every week, but once you have that like library of content, and maybe you hire a VA or two, they can help take that one piece of content and repurpose it in all the different platforms, put it in like a rotator where you're like posting in different, groups, you're posting content in different places, and not just Reels. This is something you do for all pieces of content. But of course, we're talking very specific to Reels because that's how you're going to get the most attention right now. Just look at your own behavior. Like, how many of us, we find ourselves when we're scrolling on social, yeah, you might scroll and read stuff, but you're mostly watching videos, right? So find those people that are crushing it in your company and just find ways to not like copy them, but model what they're doing. Because clearly, if they're at the top of the leaderboard for recruiting, for selling, they're building a following, there's nothing better than having complete strangers buy from you and join you. That's when you know you have unlimited potential.